Good morning, subscribers. This is Jim here from Munching with Michael. Today is Monday, and it's a very special Monday for several reasons. Number one, I'm sure you've heard the Green Bay Packers have improved to 7-2. Number two, the Bears and the Vikings play Monday night tonight, meaning that by the end of the day, one of them will have lost. Number three, it is Meat Monday, and on Meat Monday, you cook meat. And for today's episode, I'm going to show you how we smoke a pork shoulder. Check it out.
All right, guys, here it is. This is the cook plan for the pork shoulder. Aaron Franklin said, you have to make a plan so that you got a plan to stick to. So that's what we're doing. So I'm going to share that with you real quick before we dive into it. So for our cook plan, our target temperature for the smoking is between 250 and 275 degrees. We're going to stick to that as best we can. We will have thermometer alerts set up to let us know if it gets above or below a certain temperature to make sure we can stay on top of it. For our seasoning, I'm going to use yellow mustard for our binder. That's what's going to allow the rub to stick to the meat. For our seasonings, I'm going to do 1/2 a Fiesta pork rub that I got at the grocery store here. That's a San Antonio company. And the other half is going to be the Killer Hogs barbecue rub from Malcolm Reed. Shout out to How to Barbecue Right on YouTube if anybody's looking for some primo content. So our cooking schedule, what we're going to do is we are going to smoke it unwrapped for 4 hours in total. After every hour, we are going to spritz it. So that's where you just throw some liquid in a little water bottle and just give it a little gentle spritz just to keep some moisture on it so it doesn't dry out. The mixture that we're going to be using is going to be 1/2 apple cider vinegar and 1/2 apple juice. After 4 hours, we're going to take it off the smoker and we're going to wrap it up in aluminum foil. At that point, we are going to stick a probe inside so we can keep an eye on the internal temperature. We are shooting for 200 degrees internal. Once we've got 200 degrees internal, we're going to finish it off by letting it rest inside of a cooler. We're going to keep it in there for about 1 to 2 hours. I don't know exactly what time it's going to be, so we'll just feel that out and see what time we want to pull it out of the cooler. And then after that, we are going to pull the bone out, and we're going to hope that it's nice and clean, and we're going to cross our fingers we have something good. So that's the plan. Let's see how it plays out.
First step to smoking a pork shoulder is getting your meat ready. So what we're going to do, we're going to get it out of the packaging. We're going to take a look. There's a pretty thick hunk of fat on top, big fat cap. We can probably get rid of some of that. So I'm going to trim it up, pat it dry, make sure she's all ready for her rub. Now that we have trimmed and dried our pork shoulder, we are ready to go ahead and get it seasoned. So to do that, we're going to do two things. Number one is we're going to rub it down with some yellow mustard to act as a binder, and then we're going to hit it with our rub. So to do this, we're going to do a generous coating over the top and bottom, make sure we hit all the sides. Really just get a nice coating on it. So hopefully once it hits the grill for a while, we get a nice bark to it. So that's what we're gonna do next. Oh gee, what a beaut. So now that we're all rubbed up now, we're gonna go ahead and prep our grill and give this some time to let that rub soak in there. So now let's go get our grill fired up. All right, so here we are at the grill, and what's going on is we're using a little fire starter to get our chimney going with our charcoals. Today we're gonna be using these Kingsford hardwood briquettes. I've used them a lot and been getting pretty good results with them, so we'll just stick with them. For our smoking wood, I've got these hunks of cherry set aside. So once these coals get good and hot, we will dump them out. And then we're going to cover that with this heat deflector for cooking with indirect heat. We're going to toss a pan on top of it with some water just to keep some nice moisture in there. And then our target temperature today is going to be 275 degrees. To measure that, we're going to be using our little probe system right here. So we'll let those get good and hot, and then once we get up to temp, we will get our meat on. I'll show you guys what we're doing here. So as we can see, that temperature is climbing up. We've got both of our bottoms and top vents open pretty much all the way just to get air circulating in here and hope those coals get up to temperature. So our target temperature is 275. So what we'll do is at around 225, when that hits, we'll start closing those vents to kind of curb the temperature until we've got it stable in there. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So as you can see, we have made it up to temperature. So now it's time to get this guy on. I'm not going to video throwing it on. just to make sure I don't drop it. So once we get it on the grill, it's going to sit there for its first hour before we come in to check it out and see how it's doing. Once we do that, we're going to go ahead and spritz it. So right here we have a mixture of 50% apple cider vinegar, 50% apple juice, and we're going to do that once an hour for 4 hours. So we're going to have this guy on getting that smoke for 4 hours. So we'll see in a little bit and see how it's coming along. All right, so here we are. We have concluded hour 1 on the smoke. We can see that our temperature is right at 262 is good. We've been rocking in between about 260 and 280. I've only had to make adjustments maybe once or twice to the temperature, so it's been holding real solid. And we are ready for our spritz. So we're gonna spritz once an hour for the first 4 hours. But what we're gonna do is just open this up and lightly put a coating all over it. So here we go. We're going to do this as fast as we can so we don't affect the temperature too much. Oh yeah, that's looking real good. Alright, look at that nice color from that paprika. So what we're doing is we're just giving a nice little spritz all around the outside of it. Yep, just like that. Bingo! Okay. So that's our first spritz. So now we're going to go and do that again in an hour, and then in another hour, and then in another hour. I'll skip the next 3 hours, and then I will just jump right to the wrap. Once it's been on for 4 hours, we're going to wrap it in foil and let it finish off in the foil. So we'll see you guys in a few hours. All right, guys, it has been about 4 hours and 15 minutes. So we've reached the next step of cooking for this pork butt, which is wrapping it. So we're just going to take this off, we're going to wrap it up, and then we're going to use our probe right here. We're going to get probe number 2 into that guy, and then we're going to wait until that temperature gets up to about 200 degrees. So let's go ahead and get this guy off. And again, we're going to try to keep the lid open for as little as possible, just because that influx of oxygen can really screw up with the temperature, and we've been really solid so far. So here we go. Beautiful. Now look at this. This thing is looking great. The color is phenomenal. It's got that nice bark to it. So before we wrap it up, I'm going to give it just one more little spritz. Spritz, and we're ready to go. I'm going to use one more piece of foil. Just to make sure we're not going to lose any of that tasty juice. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Beautiful. Now we're going to get my probe in there. Try to stick it in one of the deepest parts you can find without hitting the bone. If you hit the bone, that's going to throw off your readings. No, that's the bone. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Okay, just like that. So we'll put it back on. Sitting right there at 4 hours, we're reading about 149. So we're just gonna let it sit, wait for that to come up to about 200 degrees, and then we'll get it off. All right, so we are 6.5 hours in. It's been foiled up for about 2.5 hours, and that 202 means that this guy is done and ready to come off. All right, so it's time to get this guy off the grill. All right, let's get it inside. We're in the home stretch. We pulled the meat off of the grill and it's been sitting in this cooler right here for about an hour just to finish off, getting that temp up. So it should be good to go now. So what we're gonna do is take it out of the cooler. There it is. It smells incredible. Ooh. And then we're just gonna let it rest here for maybe about a half hour just because we don't want it to be too hot. And then once it's done resting here, we're gonna pull it apart and we're gonna see what we got. And that's gonna be it. So we'll see you in a little bit. All right guys, so it's been about 1/2 hour and we could probably let this sit a little bit longer because it's still quite warm, but I simply cannot wait anymore. The household is hungry. It's been about 9 hours and 15 minutes since we started, so let's go ahead and see what we got. So I got it right here. And you know that this baby is tender. So what they say is you can figure out how good it is by how clean the bone is. So we're gonna go ahead and pull the bone out here. And yeah, this bone just comes right out. Look at that. That right there is a clean bone. There is nothing on it. So the only thing there is left to do is to start shredding this guy up. Yeah, look at this. I mean, this is just coming apart. It's just like nothing. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this guy apart, and then we're gonna enjoy the fact that we've got a 8-pound hunk of meat for a household of 2 and a hungry dog. Actually, we'll give you a little taste here, so let's see what we got.
You have Jim one bite?
Yep, fantastic. I cannot wait to make tacos and salad and carnitas and just live on this for the rest of the week. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, share, and as always, it's been a pleasure. So we'll see you later.